Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining the Village Education Committee. Very important topic on driver safety. And today, Tressa Thompson, Driver Safety Manager for the DMV, is joining us. And she will, and has been speaking to you about some of your concerns. And she will first give her presentation, and I'm sure she's open to questions. And again, I thank you all for attending. Tressa, all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be back. It's been a while since I've been able to visit you in person or online. So thanks for having me. Again, my name is Tressa Thompson. I'm with the California Department of Motor Vehicles. We were previously the Senior Driver Ombudsman Unit. We are now the Community Liaison Outreach Unit, okay? So our name has changed, but we do still have some of the same duties as well as some new duties. So let me get my screen on. This always happens, of course, when I'm on. So give me a second. So there were some things brought up before we officially got started. And of course, those were all good questions and conversations that we're going to have as we go throughout the process or the presentation. So feel free to put some questions in the chat. Usually I'm pretty good at getting to those questions because I kind of know what's going to be asked, and then going through this also helped me to know what our thought processes are and how I can hopefully answer all of your questions. So hopefully you can see my screen. This gives you my information, my name, as well as my direct phone number and our DMV website, as well as the general number for the Department of Motor Vehicles, okay? So we're gonna talk about DMV seniors and safety. Again, this is from the Community Liaison Outreach Unit from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Our unit was developed as a result of the farmers market incident in Santa Monica in about 2003. So as the community liaison, it's a continuing effort to keep seniors driving for as long as they can do so safely. Okay, we're a go-between for seniors and the Department of Motor Vehicles. We represent the interest in public safety for all California motorists with a special interest in our mature drivers. So we're here to assist anyone that we can, but we do have a special place for seniors, as this is why this program was developed. Okay, so as the liaison for the Department of Motor Vehicles, I'm here to answer questions, address your concerns and or issues, and to make sure that if you're going through something that involves your driver's license with the Department of Motor Vehicles, we are handling your case according to policy and procedure. So just a few senior driver facts. Seniors make up the bulk of our population. You all are the largest part of the demographic. Seniors are actually the safest group of drivers. They are growing. This group is growing. There's relatively low traffic collisions with this group. And again, the largest group of drivers, if I can say that enough. So usually our seniors are not the culprits of being involved in accidents on a regular basis. They're not out there getting a lot of traffic citations. It does happen, but this is not the group that's, you know, out there taking selfies while driving, right? So our problem drivers are usually between 16 to 23. They're more likely to get involved in accidents and get these traffic citations. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to seniors, and it doesn't mean that there are not good or safe drivers between the ages of 16 to 23, okay? So although seniors are safe and they limit their driving, there are some driving maneuvers where seniors are increasingly more at risk. And that usually has to do with angle turns. So that's like left or right turns across traffic. Sometimes that's when it's brought to light that there's a loss of vision in the left eye or the peripheral vision, okay? Slowing and stopping, driving too slow, and making unnecessary stopping maneuvers. So a lot of times when my seniors take different drive tests, if they have to take a behind the wheel test at the department, they will tell me I drove too slow and I didn't pass because of it, but I drove too slow because I was being careful. that's not always being careful. You know, sometimes driving too slow is just like driving too fast. It's not safe for the conditions. If the road says 40 miles per hour and it's a beautiful day like it is where I am, there's no rain, there's no traffic, no pedestrians, nothing to impede you from going the speed limit, you should be at or about the speed limit, never over, never significantly under. And so I want to make sure I do address this, because most times I get a question, can you get a citation from an officer for driving too slow? Yes, you can. Officers do cite people for driving too slow, because again, that is also a risk to traffic safety. Usually when seniors are involved in accidents, it deals with left, right, and U-turns. So again, those angle turns, turning maneuvers, backing, merging, parking or leaving a parked position. So when we're merging, when you think about merging, we think about the freeway a lot of times. You can also merge leaving a curbside parking space, excuse me, because you're going to be going into traffic that's already moving. So you're merging. So if you're getting on the freeway and you're merging, you need to be at or about the speed that traffic is going. You know, if it's a good day and traffic is light, which is not likely here in Southern California, but it does happen, you should be getting on, you know, at a quick pace. You should not be getting on the freeway if traffic is moving at 20 miles an hour. Then you may need to adjust that and say, well, freeway driving may not be for me. When you're parking or leaving a parked position, just imagine being parked at a curb, you know, at street parking, and you're going to go into traffic. You can't just barrel into traffic. It's up to you, because you're entering traffic to make sure you have a safe space to get into traffic. So you want to signal, you want to look in your rearview mirror over your shoulder, and then you want to go into traffic when it's safe. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't just go into traffic and say, I'm coming out, everybody stop for me. That's not how that works. You know, you have to make sure that you have created a safe space and that you're able to merge and go with the flow of traffic once you're in that, once you've merged into the moving traffic, okay? So I just mentioned a little bit about restricted or limited driving. That's usually very common for our mature drivers. Not that you have to do this, and if you do this, it doesn't mean that you're not safe. But a lot of seniors don't drive at night. They no longer drive the freeway. They don't drive long distances. They drive only during light traffic hours, and they may only drive in familiar areas. Maybe this sounds familiar to some of you and you're driving. It doesn't mean that you're a bad driver because you choose not to drive at night if that's not what you feel safe or comfortable doing. And so it just really means that you're being responsible. You recognize there's a change and you accept the change. And so you implement something different. You don't drive at night, or you don't drive on the freeway. We don't have a problem with that. There's no law that says you must drive the freeway or you must drive at night. The expectation is that whatever driving situation you put yourself in, that you are able to, you have that skill to drive in that set of conditions. That's all we're asking. So if you find it in yourself to say, I don't like the freeway, it's just too fast for me, it's too many lanes of traffic, it's confusing, or I just don't like it anymore, that's fine. We're not going to get involved in that. You've restricted yourself, and that's safe, and we're good with that. So the driver's license renewal requirements in California. First off, there's no age limit to where DMV says you can't drive at 99 or 109. We don't get involved in that. Again, the expectation is that if you no longer feel safe, or that you want to drive, or you don't want to drive, you stop driving on your own. That's the expectation. However, since we don't have an age limit, when your license expires and you're going to be 70 or older at the time that your license is coming up for renewal, you will get a renewal notice that will require you to come in person to your local DMV. You will be required to take the vision and the knowledge exams. Okay, so both the eye test and the written test, which we now refer to as the knowledge exam. So those are required. What are we looking for with the vision? There was some vision talk before we officially got started. So in our offices, there's usually a vision chart, and you are standing a certain amount of feet away from that chart. And we're looking for 20/40 in both eyes, 20/40 in one eye, and at least 20/70 in the other eye. It could be either eye, but 20/40, 20/40, at least 20/70. If anyone, regardless of age, takes that vision exam and they don't meet those vision standards, we're going to give you a report of vision exam. A DL62 is the name of the form, report of vision exam. And we're going to have you take that to your eye doctor because we are not doctors. Once you bring that form back, if it's just a matter of, oh, this person needed new glasses, or they are now need a new prescription for glasses, and you come back and your vision readings are 20/40, 20/40, 20/70 or better, we're good to go. If that form comes back and there's something that says there's cataract or glaucoma, or yeah, there's a vision issue, this person has no vision in the left eye, or whatever it says, and you're not meeting the 20/40, 20/40, 20/70, then we're going to give you an actual driving test. That's when the behind the wheel road test is required. And again, this is not just for seniors, this is for anyone that doesn't meet the vision standard. And it does happen to other folks that are not, 70 or older. Okay. So if you pass our vision test, you're good to go. If you don't pass the vision test, it's not over, but there is an extra step to go through. We're going to give you the vision form. You take it to your doctor, you bring it back. It is reviewed, and then we will probably have to give you a behind the wheel driving test. Okay. As far as the knowledge test or the written test, you have 25 questions on that test. Okay. You can miss 5, and you have 3 chances to take that test. So if you come in and you don't do great the first time, you have 2 more opportunities. There's no payment. Okay. Once you pay your renewal fee, you have 3 chances to take that test. Okay. If everything goes well and you're successful in the vision and the written exams, then you get a 5-year license. Okay. I'm going to go back a little bit. Let's say someone comes in and they bring us that vision form. The vision form indicates there is some cataract, it's progressive. We're probably going to, of course, give you a driving test, and you maybe get a limited term license for 2 years. That means that we're going to have to check you in 2 years, and you're going to be required to renew your license in 2 years by coming back to the DMV with a new or a current vision form from your eye doctor. Because no one knows when cataract or when any condition, we don't know the date and time that it's going to progress. So we have to keep an eye on you a little bit more often than someone that doesn't have a vision issue, if that makes sense. That's just for the interest of traffic safety. Okay, so once we get that form, after 2 years, if all goes well, we review that form, you take another driving test, and then you're good to go. Okay, you don't have to take a written test. So again, we'll give you a license for 2 years. You'll come back, that's 2 years, so that's 4. On that 5th year, that's when you would make another payment, take the knowledge test, bring in your form again for your vision, and take another drive. So again, you're going to be testing more often, but you're not going to pay more often, and you're not going to take the written test more often. That's only going to be on that 5th year. So 2 years, limited term, you bring in your vision form, you take a drive test. The second leg of that limited term, you bring in the vision form, you take a drive test. On the 5th year, which is the odd year, you bring in the vision form, you renew the license by taking your knowledge test, you take your driving test again, and then we'll issue the license. If all is well with this process, you get your renewal notice, you take your vision test, and you pass your written test, you get a license for 5 years. Okay, so that's the only time the department will limit the term of the license, which is normally 5 years, for less than 5 years, possibly 2 years, if there's a vision issue. So when your neighbor tells you, oh, you have to take a driving test, that's not going to be everybody's story. So be very careful what you listen to when it comes to the DMV and what you'll have to do, because your circumstances may be different from your neighbor or your friend. To prepare for our written exam, the basic study tips, the California handbook, it's out every year. Our newest one is out, it's 2023. You know what's in the handbook because you're driving, and most of you have very good driving records. So I don't recommend reading that book all day. I just think it turns your brain to mush. 15, 20 minutes once or twice a day to read that book. Maybe when you get up and have your coffee or tea, you're relaxed. Read it 15, 20 minutes. Maybe if you have a doctor's appointment, you take it with you. It's a good read, right? Read it while you're waiting, but don't try to cram and read that book all day. It causes a lot of anxiety. It's not good for you. So, and people want to know, well, what parts of the book to read? The entire book. Your 25 questions can come from anywhere in that book. So if you skip a section, you know, and that information is on your test, and maybe there are 2 questions from that section possibly, then that's 2 you possibly will get wrong because you didn't even read that section of the book. So you want to read the entire book. We also have sample tests available online or by mail if requested. I'm not going to say these tests are not good, but I wouldn't rely on these tests. I have seniors call me all day and they have gone over the sample test, but they didn't read the book. And then they are surprised when they get to the office and they say, it's a whole different test. These are samples. They're very basic. They're not updated with the booklet every year. So the sample tests are not bad, just to give yourself, you know, some idea if you're retaining and recognizing the information, but they are not to be relied on when you're preparing for the test. You need to read the California Handbook in its entirety, okay? DMV does not give classes, but AARP does have a driver safety course for persons 55 and older. My numbers may not be right, so forgive me. For members, it's about $20 or so. For non-members, it's a little over $20, okay? So you don't have to be a member of ARP to take their course. You can give them a call, or you can call your local senior center. A lot of times they'll have the courses at a senior center, or if you call them, they'll let you know where there's a course in your area, or you can do it online. They have the online course as well. We do have a few different testing options now at our offices. When you go into the DMV offices now, they are not going to offer you paper. Paper is only available upon request. So you have to ask for the paper. They're going to encourage you to take the touch screen, which is not horrible if you know what to expect. And I'll go over it a little bit with you. So if you want to use that as an option, you're have the education, the knowledge of how it works. You're going to just get one question on the screen at a time. It's going to be the one question and the 3 options, just like the paper. Next to an option is going to be a clear bubble, 3 of them next to each option. You're going to touch it. That's it. Well, what are you thinking? Well, once I touch it, I can't go back. Yes, you can. You can touch until your heart's content. It's only going to accept one answer at a time. So if you hit this one and then you choose another one, that one's available. This one is now selected. Okay, one answer at a time. Once you touch it and you say, this is my final answer, you have to touch on the screen, submit. And then that's when there's no going back. That answer is gone. If the answer that you just submitted was correct, the next question will come on the screen. If the answer you just submitted was incorrect, that same answer will bounce back on the screen. It'll put a red X where you selected the wrong answer and a green check mark where the right answer should have been selected. Can you change it at that time? No, but it's letting you know, okay, you got one wrong and this is the right answer. And then the next one will come up for you to do another question. Another option, people want to know, is the touchscreen test, is it timed? It is. We don't expect you to keep up with the time. So once the question comes on the screen, you have 3 minutes, okay? What happens if I can't answer it in 3 minutes? Well, we kind of got you covered. If you get down to 2.5 minutes, the system will have a message come on the screen. It'll say, hey, Tressa, you've been on this question for 2.5 minutes. Do you need more time? Yes or no? If I touch yes, it gives me an additional 3 minutes. So that's 6 minutes on one question, which is quite a long time. You know, I think that's a reasonable amount of time to read it several times and go over it. So don't be intimidated by using the touch screen. I think the intimidation comes in when you get there and it's a surprise that they're not offering the paper and they put you in front of this and you don't know how it works. And people automatically think, oh, I'm being timed. Well, but you are. But there are things, you know, in the programming to where you don't have to keep up with the time. It's going to tell you when you're at the halfway mark or so, 2.5 minutes, and it allows you to get more time. Okay. We also have the audio version where you can listen to it. We have something called the person to person, which is scheduled directly with the office that you need to go to. They're going to read you the test. They're going to read you the question, the 3 options, and then you need to respond with the answer that you're choosing. So it's some people can do it that way. It's better for them. It's usually, not always, but a lot of times it's for people that maybe have learning disabilities or English is not their first language. And we do offer the test in different languages. Okay. The last option is something that you'd probably be very, very interested in. So seniors now 70 and older, they have been approved for online renewal, and you can test online. Everyone is not eligible. The eligibility criteria is something that you will find out once you create an account on the DMV website, and then you log into that account and you choose the driver's license online renewal option. Okay. And then once you go in, if you're not eligible, once you put in your information, once you log into your account, it'll say eligibility record not found. That means, unfortunately, that you're not eligible to renew online. Okay. If you don't get that message and you're able to go through the process of filling out the application, your personal information, your height and weight, any changes in your address, you know, the voter information, medical questions. It's just like if you're filling it out at the office. At the end of that application, you will pay online using a credit, a debit card, or your checking account number. Okay. And then it'll give you 2 choices for an exam: a proctored exam, which requires you to have a desktop or a laptop computer with a camera, because and you have to agree to have someone watch you, because it's proctored, which means it's an observed exam by the DMV. Or the eLearn course. This is the one I think you guys may like. So the eLearn course, it is not pass or fail. It is made up of 7 modules. Each module will cover a different traffic, safety issue or traffic laws. Okay, so let's say, for example, the first module is right turns. It's going to show you some videos or vignettes, about 6 or 7. It's going to have text on the screen that you can read along as you're watching this traffic scenario. It's going to tell you what's right and wrong about this situation and what should be done. And then after you watch about 6 or 7, video snippets about right turns, it's going to say, hey, let's find out what you learned about right turns. Okay. And then it's going to ask you questions. So let's, for example, say a question will be, can you pass on the right shoulder? No, that's a no, right? So you tap no, then you go to the next question. But let's back up. What if you say, yes, you can pass on the right shoulder, which is the incorrect answer? The system's going to say, hey, try that again. You can't fail the test. You just have to complete the 7 modules. So it's not pass or fail. It's designed to where you're still getting the information in a manner that maybe it works for you, where it covers everything, where it's visual, and that you can't get the wrong answer. Okay. Once you finish or complete the eLearn exam, or modules, I should say, then you give it about 24 hours to update. And then you go to the DMV. You still have to go in person, because you have to take your eye exam, give a thumbprint and a photo, and you're done. Okay. So that's an option that I think is good for anyone that has a little anxiety about going to the DMV and taking the test. I want to talk about health and safety. As far as driving, it's very important to know that when you renew your license, we talked about the application, whether it's at the office or online at home. We're always asked about 3 medical questions on our applications, which we sign under the penalty of perjury. So the questions are, do you have a medical condition? Have you been recently hospitalized in the last 3 to 5 years? Are you taking any medications? So the expectation is that you answer those correctly, honestly, right? But some people don't. Some people may not realize they have a medical condition. It happens. So doctors are mandated reporters, and that's according to the Health and Safety Code. So doctors must report conditions they feel may affect someone's ability to drive safely. Once that information is shared with the Department of Motor Vehicles, we will reach out to you via mail with the suspension or with information that we need more medical information and we need to talk with you. So remember, doctors are mandated reporters. They must report. Okay, I'm senior specific right now, but this could be for any age group. Family and friends can report. We don't take anonymous referrals. Anyone that reports my driving must have my information, my name, birth date, and address, okay? And or the driver's license number. A lot of times your friends don't have your driver's license number. Family members won't have that, but they'll have your name, address, and birth date. With that information, we can locate the driver's license number and reach out to you to get you to come in and talk with you and get more medical information and test your driving skills, okay? Law enforcement also make contacts with drivers in the course of their duties and while monitoring traffic safety. They can issue a notice of reexamination. It's not a citation, okay? They don't have to issue a traffic citation. This notice of reexamination gives them the authority to tell you, you need to contact DMV driver safety branch regarding your driving. And they will notify us and they'll give you a copy. Okay, in some instances, if you don't contact us within 5 business days, we'll suspend the license because you're not in compliance with the vehicle code. Okay, so anytime you get something from the DMV, you want to make sure you check it. It may be time sensitive and it could result in a suspension just for not, complying with being within a certain date. Okay. We talked about vision, 20/40 both eyes, 20/40 in one eye, whether it's the right or the left eye, and at least 20/70 in the other eye, left or right. Okay. So we talked about that. We don't do bioptic, telescopic, or similar lenses to meet the 2200 visual acuity standard in the better eye. So physical and mental conditions may require regular visits to the doctor, right? I'm just gonna, for example, if I have diabetes, I probably wanna go to the doctor on a regular basis to have my sugar checked. If I'm having high blood sugar levels, or hypo, low blood sugar levels, maybe I have a heart condition. I wanna make sure that I'm not, losing oxygen, or I'm not near fainting. That's never good for driving. It's not the condition, it's the symptoms that you may experience from the condition that may affect your driving, right? People have diabetes, people have heart conditions, they drive fine, but they are, participating with their doctors in their medical regimen. Okay, so we want to make sure that if you are on a prescribed medical regimen, whether it's medication, therapy, whatever that regimen is, that you are following that medical regimen prescribed by your physician. Okay, so it's really important to work with your physician or your medical staff to stabilize any conditions that you may have. Okay, also it's for everyone. Again, doesn't matter about age. You have to be responsible when it comes to side effects from your medications, whether it's prescribed medications, over the counter, holistic. If it makes you feel loopy or it makes you feel dizzy or extremely sleepy, that is something you need to consider before you get behind the wheel of a motor vehicle. Okay, a lot of times my seniors are not getting DUIs for alcohol, but they are getting DUIs for prescription medication. It's never good to have, new medications, 5 or 6, you take them all and then you go to the market. And then the officer contacts you because you're asleep at the red light, or you didn't go at the green light, or unfortunately you ran into something. So that's for everyone though, all drivers. I want to talk about Real ID. We had some questions on that. We had a brief chat on that before we officially started. Real ID is effective May of 2025. It is a federal program. This is something that is a result of the terrorist attacks from 9/11. And yes, we are just getting this in place. It does not just affect California, it's for all states and US territories. So if you look on the screen on the left, there it says federally compliant real ID or driver's license. It has the bright gold bear on the top right corner. So if you're wondering during this presentation, do I have real ID? If you don't have the bright gold bear, just as it shows here, it's not real ID. The new issued licenses or IDs that are not real ID compliant, it will have federal limits apply on the top right corner. So if you have the verbiage that says federal limits apply, it is not a federally compliant real ID or driver's license. Okay, real ID can be on your driver's license or your identification card. Everyone doesn't drive. So this is also a good time to mention that if you're 62 or older, okay, and you want an ID card, we will issue a senior ID card free of charge. There's no fee. You can get that as your federally compliant card if you choose to, no charge. We don't give away much, so take advantage of that if you want an ID card. So what is required of getting the real ID? You have to come in person, okay? There are some documents that are required. We need an identity document, just one document. It could be an original or certified copy of your birth certificate. It has to be a valid US passport, so unexpired. It could be a certificate of naturalization or citizenship. Those are not all of the documents. Those are the most common that are brought in. Okay, but when it's an identity document, we will only take original or certified copies, no photocopies, okay? Your Social Security, this has changed a little bit. We don't need the card anymore. You just need to put your Social Security number on the application. You do not need to bring us your card. We do still require 2 pieces of mail, which is your proof of California residency. That can be utility bills, including a cell phone bill. It can be your vehicle or boat registration, the title, mortgage, rental, lease agreement to your home or apartment, insurance or health documents, or a bank statement, something from IRS or franchise tax board. Any 2 different documents. So don't bring us 2 gas bills, but it can be a gas bill and a cell phone or a gas and a water, but 2 different types of pieces of mail. With the mail documents, it can be a copy, but we need all pages. So if it specifies 1 of 2 pages, we need pages 1 and 2. Don't bring us partial documents. All documents will be scanned and returned to you. We don't keep your documents. I'm gonna go back up a little bit for the identity document. Let's say I come in for real ID and I'm gonna use my birth certificate. It's official, it's on the paper from the registrar's office. It's the thick linen paper with the embossed seal. It's an original or certified copy birth certificate. But I'm now married. My last name was Smith when I got here, when I was born. But now my name is Thompson. So I'm going to have to show a certified copy of my marriage certificate. Very important. Certified copy or an original of the marriage certificate, which is going to show my name went from Tressa Smith to Tressa Thompson because of marriage. Okay. This is where people get a little upset with DMV. We're not nosy. It's the federal government. Remember, this is their program. So if you've been married once, it didn't work out, married again, we're going to need the marriage certificate, the divorce decree, the marriage certificate, the new divorce decree, if that's what's in order. We need all of those documents because it's showing the name and the name changes, and that was you. Okay, so that's real ID. Real ID is not a separate card. It's called real ID, but it can be your identification card or your driver's license. Only one card can have the real ID status with this gold, bright gold bear on it, okay? Real ID, again, is the federally compliant card. It will be used May of 2025 to board domestic flights and to enter secure federal facilities or military bases. That's when real ID will be required, what it will be required for May of 2025, okay? Real ID is not required by the DMV. If you don't want it, you don't have to get it if you're not traveling. If you're still traveling and you don't want it, that's fine. You can use a valid, unexpired US passport for domestic flights, and you don't have to have real ID if you choose to. That's perfectly fine, okay? So I don't want anyone to leave here and think I have to have real ID. It's really a personal preference and or the need. If you don't have a passport and you're still traveling, then of course you're going to have it by May of 2025. Also, just to clarify, I indicated that you can use a valid US passport if you're going to travel domestic, okay? You can use your passport and don't have to have a real ID. But if your trip requires a passport, you must have the passport for travel. So if you're going out of the country, you will still have to have your passport. You can't show up with your real ID. It won't take the place of the passport. Okay, so domestic travel, you can use your real ID or your valid US passport. For traveling abroad out of the country, you must have a valid US passport. Okay. Again, if your card has federal limits apply, it will not be used to get through TSA. You know, that TSA is the federal overseer of the airport. So they won't allow you to board the plane with just this. If you have only this, you're going to need to have something else, something like a valid US passport. But this alone, you will not be able to jump on that flight to get to Vegas. Okay. So our DMV service options, appointments are not mandatory, but they are strongly suggested and available. You can call me for an appointment. I'll make it with you on the phone. Find out what office you want to go to. I'll tell you what dates they have. We'll get it confirmed. You can call our 800 number. Okay, they can also assist. You can go online to our website. You can do the kiosk, and that's for vehicle registration. So we do have kiosks available at different grocery stores as well as our different offices. I tried it for the last 2 years. I've gone to the local supermarket, got my groceries, and then spent another arm and a leg to get my vehicle registration. But I do like the convenience. There's no line. You just put in your information. You have to have your registration card or your renewal notice. You put in the information they ask for, and it spits out, with your payment, of course, it will give you your tags and your registration card. So that's just another something that you'll know, that you don't have to go to the DMV, even though I know it's your favorite agency. Also, you can go to AAA if you're a member to do your vehicle registration. This is my information. I want to make sure, I'm going to stop sharing in a moment because I want to answer questions and get in the chat, because I can't see anything right now. So I'm going to end it and come back to you. Okay, so I'm going to give me a moment to look in the chat. And then if you want to unmute yourselves, or if someone can unmute, if you have questions, I will take them. Let's see. Back in the day, I was a professional tag writer, so I was amazed to find it. So the test questions, I don't know exactly how they're worded, because I haven't had to take the test right now, but it is different. The tests have been upgraded. I don't know if that's for the good or not, but it's definitely different from the tests that we've taken in the past. So again, we want to make sure that you read the booklet. You're saying that it used many terms and expressions on the tests and it wasn't in the handbook? I'm not sure.
I am very sure.
Can you give me an example?
No, I can't remember it. I can't remember them, but it's very clear to me and made me think I'm very glad I'm a native English speaker. It was difficult.
Okay.
Can I have the last 4 numbers of how to reach you, Teresa?
Yes,
Sure.
could you put all your contact information back up on the screen?
I will, yes.
Thank you.
I want to also indicate that for folks that are interested in getting a passport, it may take a while to get a passport. That agency is a little behind. So if you're thinking about getting a passport, or you want to renew your passport, you may want to check into doing that earlier than later, because that agency is a little backed up with passports. What about foggy? And my last 4 are 3552. I didn't forget you, but in order for me to see these questions, I'll put it back before we leave. What about foggy brain from COVID? What about it? Meaning you're just not able to remember things like you used to? Then I would say take your time, read the questions. It may be better for you to request a paper test in that instance, and maybe even take the ARP course. because they go over our entire handbook. You're amongst your peers. You can ask questions. They're giving you probably different traffic scenarios. So that's the only thing I could think of from that. But we can't take away that element or that requirement of the knowledge test. The handbook is available on our website. You can also contact me. I'll mail it to you if you need to, or you can get it from your local DMV office. A lot of times people mention that AAA has a book. AAA is a great agency. They work with us. They process a lot of our vehicle registrations, but their books are different. I would go with the DMV books because we're given the test and we know what's in our books and what's on the test. So our books are available at every office. Foggy brain is a medical condition that may affect driving. So if that is something that may affect driving and the doctor hasn't reported it, that's something that you should be reporting. Again, if it's not time for you to renew your license, but you know you have a condition, maybe like foggy brain, and it's affecting your driving, you can report yourself to be re-examined so that the DMV can get medical information and give you a test.
If you already have a real ID and you're going for renewal, do you need to bring all the documents again, or?
For me, you're a little choppy, so I'm going to repeat your question. What I heard was, if you already have a real ID, do you have to bring in all the documents again? Was that the gist of your question? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. I don't hear you right now. So if you already have a real ID, driver's license, or identification card, you do not need to bring in the documents again. You've already been established to have that real ID status on your license or ID card. That's it. We don't require those documents again. Hopefully I answered you. The behind the wheel driving test is not required because you're reaching a certain age. No, not the behind the wheel driving test. The behind the wheel driving test is only required if there's a vision issue. Then we'll get a vision form from your eye doctor and give you the behind the wheel test. The only test that's required is going to be the vision test and the knowledge test once you're 70 or older. And that's every 5 years once you're 70 or older. Did I miss any questions in the chat? I'm trying to keep up.
Here's an oral question. If you take the test, miss 5 questions, and you do it 3 times, then what?
So if you miss 5, you're passing. But if you miss over 5, which is not passing, and you do that on 3 tests, then you have to start over. You have to do a new application, pay the fee for the renewal, take another eye exam, even if you passed it on the last one, because you're starting over, and then you'll get a set of 3 new chances for the written exam.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Someone is asking if the medical condition is just high blood pressure. Is this something that should be reported? If it's high blood pressure or any other condition that's possibly not controlled that could affect your driving, it should be reported. Yes. If it's something that's controlled that maybe you've had for years that's not affecting anything, then that would probably be between you and your doctor. Do they still ask questions about what percentage of alcohol? They do. They do. So a little trick that for me, if you just remember 0.01 is for under 21. So remember 1 and 1, under 21, 0.01, because they shouldn't have any alcohol in their system, right? 0.08 or greater is for 21 and older. At least if you know that, okay, that gives you a better chance of answering those questions correctly, knowing what blood alcohol concentration goes with what age group. But they definitely ask questions about percentages of alcohol. They're going to ask questions about fines and jail time, which is in our booklet regarding DUIs or evading the police, which unfortunately is a thing now in Southern California. Almost once a week on the news, someone is either doing a high speed or a slow speed chase, messing up the freeways more than what they need to. So that's something that's on our test too. Does monovision require a driving test? Yes, because usually with monovision, you're not going to pass our vision test because one eye is for distance and one is for near, I guess. So you're going to require to get a vision form and bring it in with to the DMV. And then they'll find out if they have to give you a driving test. More than likely, yes. With vision issues, is there a 3-year license? No, with vision issues, with the limited term license, it's either 1 year or 2 years, not 3.
Here's another oral question. Do they test your vision with your glasses on or off?
If you need your glasses, you absolutely wear your glasses. If you need glasses, that's fine. And then we'll put a restriction, which is the most common restriction, must wear corrective lenses.
Got it.
So yes, we don't tell you to take your glasses off. We're not eye specialists. If you need glasses, please have them on. Question, my dad is 75 years old and cannot, oh, I'm sorry. This is a direct message. I'm sorry. Do you want me to answer that out loud? Can you let me know? Okay, sorry. A 75-year-old that can't pass the written test, an excellent driver, but he's a Spanish speaker only. Are there any resources or assistance? Well, we definitely give this test in Spanish. So that's something that, I don't know if that's something that he knows or is trying. We also have the booklet, the study booklet in Spanish to make sure that, you know, he can read that and understand it in his native language. So hopefully that's something that's helpful. Off the top of my head, tried the test 3 times in Spanish. Okay, I would make sure he's reading the book and just give him some of those suggestions of reading that book 15 to 20 minutes once or twice a day. A lot of times my seniors call me, and sometimes, you guys, believe it or not, I can't help because they're way up here when they call. And they never come down to hear what I'm saying. They're up here and they ask me questions, and before I can say anything, they're answering for me, and then they hang up, literally, because they feel like, okay, this is it. And I'm like, I just feel bad because I wasn't able to calm them or help them. So make sure he's reading the book 15, 20 minutes once or twice a day, and ask for the paper. If the paper is better for him, have him ask for the paper. But anytime you take a knowledge test in any language other than English, they will give you also a signs test. Okay, and it's just the basic signs to make sure people understand, you know, the English language when it comes to our signs, because they're going to be in English. So that's one option. People that are illiterate, they can do what's called the person-to-person that I said, where we read them the test, and then they have to answer appropriately. That's another option. They also have to take the signs test to make sure they have the basic English or skills set to read the signs, stop, one way, yield. They need to know what those things mean. So that's how that happens if someone has some type of literacy issue. Did I miss anything? Let me go back. Any other questions? Let's talk a little bit really quickly about disabled persons placard. I didn't mention that. So disabled persons placards, first off, are issued because the doctor, your doctor, says that you have a permanent disability. It's not DMV. There's an application you take to your doctor, and the doctor determines if you have a permanent disability, not DMV. If the doctor says this person has a permanent disability, we are going to issue the blue permanent placard, right? When the placard is issued, it is issued to one person. The person that the doctor certified has a permanent disability. It is not to be used if you are not in that vehicle. So it's not for your spouse, your caretaker, your children. If your placard is being used, you need to be present. Please remember that. A lot of times we've made up our own rules with these placards, and it's been like this from the beginning of time, but I think it was lax, and now they're cracking down, giving tickets, and they are expensive. So if someone takes me to the market and they drop me off at the door and they say, you're not looking like you're having a good day, you don't feel well, you go ahead and get out and walk on in the store, I'm going to go park. And they go and park at a disabled spot, which is labeled and it's blue, and they put up my placard. If law enforcement or parking enforcement approaches, which they can, and they say, hey, I want to see your information, you parked here, is this your placard? Oh, it's not my placard, my friend's in the store. they're going to take my placard from that person and give that person a ticket. So I need to be present when the placard is being used. Just please remember that, okay? That's something that people oftentimes debate on when we have these sessions, because they say, no, my children take me to the store, the doctor, they drop me off, and then they go park in the space. But how do you justify that when someone approaches you of authority and asks to see your ID and the placard is not yours? That's not how it works. They have to go park in a regular spot. And if you can't make it to the vehicle, then they have to drive and pick you up. Norma's iPad?
Yes, can I get a real ID same time as apply for renewal of my driver's license?
Absolutely. And that's when you want to do it, because you don't want to pay an extra fee. There's no extra fee for real ID when you renew. It's $41 right now. That's what you're going to do, whether you get real ID or not. If you do it later or you do it before, it's like $30, $33 to get the real ID, and it doesn't extend your license if it's not time for you to renew. Then you're going to pay again at renewal. So if you can wait until the renewal, that's the time to do it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Can
I have an oral question.
Okay.
I asked this and then I lost my connectivity. So if you heard it and responded, I apologize.
No worries.
My question is, I already have the real ID and I'm coming up for renewal. Do I need to bring all the documents when I go to renew?
No, you do not. So once you have the real ID status, you don't need to bring in the documents. You have it, that's it. You're good.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is it true when you're using the handicap placard, you don't need to pay for parking, like in a parking structure? Yes and no. If you are using your disabled person's placard and you're parking on the street and it's metered parking, you don't have to feed the meter. Make sure your placard is up. But if you're in a parking structure, if it's a private parking structure, you may still have to pay. More than likely in private parking structures, you still have to pay, but they do observe disabled spaces because of the distance. It's closer. So hopefully that answers.
I once got a $300 fine for illegal parking in a handicap spot. I was taking a 91-year-old to a class at a senior center, and she was worried we got there late. So I helped her out and I neglected to put my tag up. I photocopied it. I sent it in with an explanation, and they sent a letter back to me saying the fine was waived. In this particular instance, it was lovely. They were very nice. When I mentioned it to someone, they said that had happened to them too once before. And they suggested I get the handicap license plate, because then if I forget to put the tag on, my car was still showing that I was legally parked. There was no extra charge for it. I highly recommend it for just peace of mind. You do not want to come home and get a letter saying you owe $300.
I agree. And those tickets are very expensive. And she's right. If you want to get the plate on your vehicle with the disabled emblem, you're more than welcome to do that. The plate itself is free, but of course you're still responsible for paying for your sticker and your registration.
Yep.
So that's an option. You can have the plate and the placard. You can have them both. That's not a problem. To get the plate, just remember you have to be a registered owner on the vehicle. Okay. Did I miss any questions? Let me check here. How soon before your birthday do you get a renewal notice? Good question. Your renewal notice comes about 3 to 4 months before your birthday, at least 3 months before your birthday. So once you get your notice, I would say make your appointment if that's what you want to do, or create your account and go online as we discussed and see if you're eligible for the online renewal. What I suggest too with the online situation, do that early on. Don't wait until you get the renewal notice and then you're full of anxiety because maybe you're not using the computer so great, or it's not something you're familiar with, but that's okay. So create your account first, but just remember, have someone there with you that can help you, that you trust. It's going to take you through 5 steps. It's not that bad, but you must have your own email address. So if you don't have an email address, make sure whoever's helping you can make sure that you set up an email address first before you set up your DMV account, okay? Any other questions? Did I cover just about everything that was on your mind about the DMV, hopefully?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so you
So-
have my phone number. Let me put this back up as I promised, just really quick, if I can.
Yeah.
I am so not good at Zoom. See, I'm not good at this stuff either. I see it, but I don't know how to share it again.
Just say it.
Say it again.
Just say your info.
That's probably a better idea. Thank you. It's 310-615-3552. 310-615-3552.
Could you
So
also,
it'll be a lot easier if we could see that screen so we could take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, and there
Okay.
were a lot of, you gave us quite a few different numbers. It would be wonderful to have that.
or if you
Okay.
could put
We'll
it,
struggle along with you. We're happy to wait.
if you could put it in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I'm just gonna do right now. So I'll put my name, I'll put my email, which is my name.
Isn't there a dot between your first and last name?
Uh-huh.
Great.
Okay, so everything is there. 800-700. Okay,
Did you put it on chat already?
I'm doing it right now to
Oh, okay.
everyone, and there we go.
I think also, since it's going to be recorded, it will be on the village website, and those numbers were at the beginning of her presentation.
Okay, that's a good point. So my name is there, which also includes my email address, my direct phone number, and our general number for the DMV. Okay. And I will tell you, I am experiencing some phone issues today. My phone has not worked for me today, so I'm not sure what's going on. So if you do call me and I don't answer, you get a weird noise, I am having the issue with the phone. I'm hoping it's Friday, so hopefully they'll have it rectified by Monday. But if you need me, you can email me, leave me a phone number in that email, and I will call you if you're unable to get a hold of me by phone if you need me, okay?
And that went away off of the chat. So,
That again.
yeah, so put it back in chat again because
No, it's there.
Not
Just
long enough.
that again.
It went away.
yes.
No.
Oh, you may have to just scroll down. It's still there.
I have it.
You got it?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments regarding DMV? We're good?
a.thompson@dmv.ca.gov. Okay.
So what is that 800 number?
That's the general number for the DMV. So if I'm not available, because I do work in the field, if you need to speak to someone right away, or you want to make an appointment, or you have vehicle registration questions, that's also another number that you can contact to get a DMV representative.
Right now only have 800-777. So the last four numbers I still do not have.
0133.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Katie, was there anything else you wanted me to go over? Are we good? Did you all have any other questions?
We're good. Thank you so much. We'll stop the recording and really appreciate everyone coming and being engaged and such wonderful information. Thank you.
Thank
No
you so much
problem.
for doing this from the Education Committee.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Yes, thanks for coming. Thank you. Take care. Stay cool, you guys.
You too.
It was a great
Bye-bye.
meeting. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you. No problem.
So should I end it?
Yes, you can just leave the meeting.
Exit.